Los Angeles, California's crown jewel, sparkles with an irresistible allure. It's the city of dazzling dreams where Hollywood's golden glow casts a spell of glamour, fame, and cinematic wonder. Known worldwide as the entertainment capital, LA pulses with the energy of red carpet premieres, iconic landmarks, and the promise of stardom. Yet, beneath this radiant facade lies a shadow so stark it chills the soul. Just steps from the glittering marquees and palatial estates, thousands of people sleep on cold, unforgiving sidewalks. In a city built on the pursuit of dreams, far too many are trapped in a relentless nightmare, forgotten in the margins of a society that thrives on spectacle. This documentary dares to peel back the curtain on Los Angeles' dazzling exterior, to reveal a crisis that grows more dire by the day, the alarming surge of homelessness. We'll dive deep into the human stories behind the staggering statistics, explore the tangled web of factors fueling this epidemic, and spotlight the innovative efforts striving to restore hope and stability to those who need it most. Join us as we journey into the heart of LA's unseen struggle, where resilience battles despair, and the fight for survival unfolds in the shadows of a city that never stops shining. If this journey sparks your curiosity about homelessness in other cities or regions, drop your thoughts in the comments below. We might just cover your suggestion next. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe to uncover more untold stories from the hidden corners of society. Together, we can amplify voices that too often go unheard. In 2024, Los Angeles faced a gut-wrenching reality, a 28% surge in its homeless population, pushing the number of unhoused individuals to a record-shattering 11,141. This isn't just a statistic, it's a human tragedy unfolding on an unprecedented scale. Since 2013, homelessness in LA has skyrocketed by 55%, with a staggering 41% increase in just the last 4 years. These numbers scream of a city at a breaking point, where the dream of opportunity has crumbled into a daily struggle for survival for far too many. The crisis is no longer a distant issue tucked away in reports or news headlines. It's a raw, undeniable reality etched into the very streets of Los Angeles. From bustling boulevards to quiet residential corners, the evidence is everywhere. Tents line sidewalks, makeshift shelters cluster in alleys, and lives are lived in the open, exposed to the elements and the indifference of a city racing forward. This is not the LA of postcards or movie screens. This is a city where glamour has faded, leaving behind a stark landscape of poverty and despair. At the heart of LA's homelessness crisis lies Skid Row, a name that has become synonymous with desperation and survival. This small pocket of downtown Los Angeles, spanning just a few blocks, is home to one of the densest concentrations of unhoused individuals in the nation. Here, the city's glittering promise feels like a cruel mirage. Tents and tarps huddle together in tight rows, forming a patchwork of makeshift homes. The air is heavy with the weight of struggle. There are no showers, no kitchens, no access to basic medical care. For those living here, each day is a battle against inhumane conditions. Where dignity is a luxury and survival is a victory, Skid Row is more than a place. It's a symbol of a society that has failed its most vulnerable. The people here aren't just statistics, they're mothers, veterans, dreamers, and workers who have been pushed to the margins by a system that seems to have no room for them. Yet, even in this harsh reality, there's a flicker of resilience. Neighbors share what little they have, forming a fragile but vital sense of community. Still, the challenges are immense. Drug addiction, mental health struggles, and a constant threat of violence make escape feel impossible. Beyond Skid Row, the crisis ripples across the city. Venice Beach, with its vibrant boardwalk and tourist-packed shores, is no longer just a haven for artists and sun-seekers. Tents now dot the sand and sidewalks. Hollywood Boulevard, where stars are immortalized in concrete, is lined with the unhoused. Their stories a stark contrast to the fame etched into the pavement. Even the polished heart of downtown LA, with its sleek skyscrapers, is not immune. Sidewalks stretching from busy commercial hubs to quiet neighborhoods have become makeshift homes for thousands, each person navigating a daily gauntlet of vulnerability. and deprivation. What drives the city of dreams to such a heartbreaking reality? The roots of LA's homelessness crisis are deep and complex, woven from economic, social, and systemic threads that have unraveled over decades. At the core is a brutal truth: Los Angeles is one of the most unequal cities in America. The chasm between the ultra-wealthy and those scraping by grows wider each year, fueled by stagnant wages, skyrocketing living costs, and a housing market that feels like a rigged game. Poverty in Los Angeles isn't just a statistic, it's a force that reshapes lives and communities. The city's income inequality is among the highest in the nation, with the top 1% earning exponentially more than the bottom 50%. For many residents, wages have barely budged in decades, while the cost of living has soared. The result: a city where basic necessities, rent, food, healthcare are increasingly out of reach for the working class and low-income families. The housing crisis in Los Angeles is a beast of its own. Median home prices have climbed to a jaw-dropping $912, $500 more than double the national median of roughly $375,000. For most residents, the dream of homeownership is a distant fantasy. Renting is no easier. The average two-bedroom apartment costs $2,570 per month, far above the national average of $1,300 to $1,500. These staggering costs leave countless Angelinos teetering on the edge, where one financial misstep can mean losing everything. The housing shortage compounds the problem. Los Angeles simply doesn't have enough affordable units to meet demand. Years of underinvestment in public housing, coupled with zoning laws that favor luxury developments, have left low-income residents with few options. For many, the choice is stark: pay an unsustainable portion of their income on rent or face the streets. Adding another layer to the crisis is LA's role as a hub for refugee resettlement and undocumented immigration. By 2023, Los Angeles County was home to an estimated 83,397 undocumented immigrants, a sharp rise from 16,000 in 1990 and to 110,000 in 2005, according to the Pew Research Center. Many of these individuals, including asylum seekers, arrive with little more than hope, only to find themselves trapped in a web of legal uncertainty, without access to stable employment, public assistance, or affordable housing. They are uniquely vulnerable to homelessness. This population faces immense barriers, language gaps, limited job opportunities, and a lack of social safety nets. For asylum seekers, the lengthy process of navigating the legal system can stretch on for years, leaving them in limbo with no clear path to stability. Without targeted support, many fall through the cracks, joining the ranks of the unhoused. In a city that promised opportunity, behind every statistic is a story, and Frank's is one that cuts to the heart of the crisis. At 69, Frank has called the streets of Venice his home for a decade. A veteran who came to Los Angeles seeking legal marijuana to manage chronic pain, Frank relies on a modest disability pension and veterans' benefits. Yet, even with this income, he can't afford a roof over his head. His story is a stark reminder that homelessness doesn't discriminate, it can strike anyone. From veterans to families to those who once had stable lives, Frank's days are a grind of survival. He navigates a world where affordable housing is a myth, and basic needs like food and medical care are constant struggles. Yet, he remains clear-eyed about what could change his reality: job opportunities tailored to people like him and a society that sees the unhoused as humans, not problems. It's not just about a house, Frank says, his voice steady but weary. It's about giving us a chance to stand on our own, to feel like we matter. Homelessness in Los Angeles isn't just a personal tragedy, it's a societal earthquake that shakes every corner of the city. From strained public services to fractured communities, the crisis touches everyone. Whether they realize it or not, the unhoused population bears a disproportionate burden of chronic illnesses, mental health challenges, and substance abuse issues. Without access to consistent care, many turn to emergency rooms as their only option. driving up healthcare costs and clogging an already overburdened system. In 2023, Los Angeles hospitals reported a 15% increase in the visits by unhoused individuals, costing taxpayers millions while diverting resources from other patients. The lack of preventative care and mental health support only deepens the cycle, keeping people trapped in illness and instability. High concentrations of homeless encampments often bring challenges that ripple into surrounding neighborhoods, petty theft, drug activity, and occasional violence, while not universal among the unhoused, can create unsafe conditions for both residents and those living on the streets. According to Neighborhood Scout, Los Angeles has a crime rate of 24.15 incidents per 10,000 residents, with a 10% spike in 2023 alone, totaling 92,300 reported incidents. This places LA among the most dangerous cities in the US, and large encampments can exacerbate these issues. The visible presence of homelessness also fuels public anxiety. Residents near encampments often report feeling unsafe, leading to calls for stricter enforcement and camp clearings. Yet, these measures rarely solve the problem, they simply push it elsewhere, deepening mistrust between housed and unhoused communities. Encampments often lead to deteriorating public spaces. Trash, human waste, and makeshift shelters accumulate in parks, sidewalks, and waterways, creating health hazards and tarnishing LA's image as a global destination. The cost of cleaning these areas is staggering millions of dollars annually, yet the problems persist as soon as cleanup efforts end. Local businesses suffer, too, as tourists and shoppers avoid areas near encampments, hitting the city's economy where it hurts. The contrast between LA's luxury high-rises and sprawling tent cities is impossible to ignore. This visible inequality breeds resentment and polarization, turning housing policies and resource allocation into political flashpoints. Instead of uniting around solutions, communities are often divided, with debates over zoning, funding, and compassion growing increasingly heated. For one woman, who was called Skid Row home for 11 years, life is a daily gauntlet of danger and survival. "It's crazy out here," she says, her voice carrying the weight of a decade on the streets. "There's violence all the time, shootouts, robberies, fights. As a woman, I feel unsafe. But I've got a roommate, so we watch out for each other." She survives by panhandling, recycling, and selling whatever she can. Stress is a constant companion, and she admits to using substances to cope. "It helps with the stress," she says quietly. "I'm just trying to get through the day." Her story is a window into the harsh realities of Skid Row, where survival demands resilience and resourcefulness, yet it also reveals the bonds that form in the face of adversity. Despite the chaos, Skid Row's residents often lean on each other, creating a fragile but vital sense of community. They share food, look out for one another, and find ways to endure. But the lack of external support, affordable housing, mental health services, addiction treatment keeps them trapped in a cycle that feels impossible to break. Shockingly, Skid Row's existence is no accident. For decades, Los Angeles city policies have intentionally concentrated the homeless population in this area, treating it as a containment zone for the city's most vulnerable. Bright, unyielding streetlights known as prison lights to residents burn through the night, a constant reminder of their entrapment. This strategy, meant to manage homelessness, has instead created a place where escape feels like a fantasy. Skid Row is both a reflection of America's homelessness crisis and a testament to the strength of its people. The solidarity among residents is inspiring, but it's not enough without comprehensive intervention, affordable housing, job programs, mental health support, and addiction services. The cycle of poverty and homelessness will persist. Skid Row isn't just a neighborhood, it's a call to action for a society that must do better. Los Angeles and California have not ignored the crisis, far from it. The city and state have poured billions into programs aimed at tackling homelessness. With mixed results, the Inside Safe initiative, launched to move unhoused individuals into hotels and temporary housing, has shown promise. In the first 11 months of 2024, it helped 23,000 people secure shelter, up from 17,600 in 2022. Governor Gavin Newsom has committed $12 billion to the cause, including $7 billion for the Project Room key program, which provides temporary housing, and $1.75 billion for affordable housing development. Los Angeles County's Housing for Health program has also made strides, transitioning nearly 1,000 people into permanent housing and 2,000 into temporary accommodations, particularly in Skid Row. Yet, despite these efforts, the crisis continues to grow. As of December 2024, Los Angeles County reported approximately 75,000 homeless individuals, with 70% lacking any form of stable shelter. The numbers paint a sobering picture for every step forward. The city seems to slide back further. One major sticking point is the practice of encampment sweeps. These operations, often justified as public safety or sanitation measures, dismantle tents and displace residents without offering long-term solutions. The result? People are scattered to new corners of the city, setting up camp again or disappearing into hidden spaces. These sweeps disrupt outreach efforts, mental health treatment, and addiction recovery, deepening the trauma of those already living in extreme stress. Critics argue that this approach is not just ineffective, but costly, with city spending millions on enforcement while the root issues remain unaddressed. To break the cycle, experts advocate for a housing-first model prioritizing stable, permanent housing paired with supportive services like case management, mental health care, and job training. This approach focuses on dignity and long-term stability, offering a path out of homelessness rather than a temporary fix. Without this shift, LA's efforts risk being a band-aid on a wound that continues to grow. Los Angeles stands at a crossroads. The homelessness crisis exposes deep-rooted issues: economic inequality, a broken housing market, strained public services, and a lack of support for vulnerable populations. Yet, within these challenges lies opportunity. By confronting these issues head-on, Los Angeles has the chance to redefine itself as a city that values every resident, not just those who live in its spotlight. The path forward requires bold, comprehensive action. Affordable housing must be prioritized, with policies that incentivize development and remove barriers to construction, support for refugees and undocumented immigrants through legal aid, job programs, and community integration can address one of the crisis's overlooked drivers. Mental health and addiction services must be expanded, ensuring that those in need have access to care that can break the cycle of homelessness. And above all, the city must move beyond reactive measures like sweeps and embrace proactive, compassionate solutions that restore dignity and hope. Los Angeles' homelessness crisis is more than a local issue. It's a mirror reflecting the inequalities and challenges facing cities across America. The stories of Skid Row, of Frank, of the woman surviving day by day, remind us that behind every tent is a person with dreams, struggles, and a story worth hearing. By shining a light on these truths, we can spark conversations, inspire change, and build a future where no one is left in the shadows. If this journey into LA's unseen corners moved you, please like, comment, and share your thoughts. Subscribe to our channel for more stories that dive deep into the issues shaping our world. Together, we can amplify the voices of the forgotten and push for a society that lifts up all its people. Thank you for joining us, and stay tuned for the next chapter in our series, where we'll continue to explore the powerful stories that define our global community.